dear, dear friend of 35 years, of course. Okay, so we all get sick at some point. We all go visit people who are sick at some point, right? How do you do it? What do you do? Judaism is very specific in what we do and how we do it. And that's the first rule. What's the one thing you never say when you visit someone who's sick?
How you feeling?
How are you feeling? It's like, what do you think, schmuck? I'm in the hospital. How are you feeling? Okay. It's the other thing you never ask someone at a funeral. How are you doing? They just lost their loved one. They're not doing so well. Okay, it's common sense. So let's start on page 1. Who wants to start reading these first 2 quotes and then go on through the page? Who wants to read loudly, loudly, loudly?
Visiting the sick is one of the greatest of all the mitzvot. It is one of the mitzvot, the fruits of which person...
Wait, you forgot the first quote at the beginning.
Heal us. Bikkur home. Bikkur home. Okay. Cholim. Heal us and we will be healed. I, God, am your healer.
Okay, that's a really important line. All healing comes from God. Period. All Ken's going to need this chair over here. All healing comes from God. Okay? Doctors are only the emissaries. Okay, go on.
Visiting the sick, Bikkur Cholim, is one of the greatest of all the mitzvot. It is one of the mitzvot, the fruits of which a person enjoys in this world, while the principle remains intact for him and in the world to come. Shabbat 127.
So that's from the Talmud. Please continue.
Once one of Rabbi Akiva's students became ill. None of the other students visited him, but Rabbi Akiva personally went to see him and swept and cleaned his room. This literally revived the student who said, Rabbi, you brought me back to life. As soon as Rabbi Akiva left, he taught, if a person does not visit the sick, it is as if he shed blood.
So this is really important, okay? If someone is sick, we have an obligation to visit them. Otherwise, we are not helping them heal, which means we're shedding their blood. So you want to go to medical school. That means that you're going to, someone's sick, your job is to heal them. That's simple. And it's true for all of us, because we can all affect someone's healing. Please continue.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if the sick refuses to take this?
Then you don't go.
And you respect and
you always respect what the sick person is doing.
I agree with you. Okay, if visitor takes away 1/60th of the illness.
Okay, so what does this mean? Every time that we visit somebody who's sick, we are taking 1/60th of their sickness away from them. It does not mean if you visit them 60 times, they're healed. It means each time you're taking 1/60th. There are 5 different things that are referred to in the Talmud that take 1/60th. Sleep is 1/60th of death. Dreams is 1/60th of prophecy. Okay, they're that kind of thing. When you visit someone who's sick, you are making a qualitative difference. Okay, let's continue.
Someone who visits the sick gives him life because he prays that he should live. But a person who does not visit him does not know what he needs and therefore does not pray for him.
There's 2 pieces in this. The first is that we need to visit. The second is we need to pray. It's really, it's so interesting what's happened in everything outside the Orthodox Jewish world. In the Reform and Conservative Jewish world, someone will go visit the sick. They'll do nice things, and then they'll leave, right? But you need to pray. If you go to an evangelical Christian, they will come up and say, can I pray for you? Can I pray with you? Something like that. Because that's our job. The prayers make a difference. Okay, they really do. Okay, let's continue.
Everyone who visits the sick is saved from the judgment of Gehenna. As it is written, Psalm 41, 22, that 3. God will save him on the evil day. And what is his reward? In this world, God will protect him from the evil inclination and preserve him in life from suffering. And he still will be praised in the land. All will feel privileged to be associated with him.
Okay, so there's a selfish quality that comes with this. We've taught over and over. If you give tzedakah, rewards come to you, right? Good things happen, all right? And you get blessed. In the same way, when you visit the sick, not only are you helping them, you are doing such a good commandment, such a good mitzvah, that you end up getting benefits from it. So when someone tells me they're sick, my first question is, would you like me to come visit? I got a call the other day from someone when I call so-and-so, their friend, who's in the hospital. I said, absolutely, and called, and the wife answered. I said, would you like me to come visit? They didn't, because he's in Kaiser and he's doing it. He's also got COVID, and so they didn't want me to go by. But the point is that visiting the sick also helps us when we do it. Okay? It also helps us in a lot of ways. Please continue. Because there's laws on what to do and how you visit the sick. Please continue.
Okay, laws on visiting the sick from Yohed as interpreted by R. Abraham Greenbaum. Except in the event of a sudden serious illness, no one but relatives and close friends should visit the sick immediately. Other people should not visit until after the first 3 days, so as to not to give the sick person the name of an invalid. Sorry about that. An invalid, which may have an adverse effect on his mazel.
So what is, first of all, unless if it's a sudden serious illness, sudden accident, the only people who should visit are really close friends. Okay? After that, then you have other people come visit. Again, why not to just show up if they don't want them? Look, if I just show up at a hospital bed, the person thinks they're dying. Okay? They just do. Rabbi showed up. I must be going, I'm going to die. So you always ask. And you need to realize that don't make it, someone's sick, give them a couple of days before you suddenly chime in and say, can I come visit you? Okay? Because you don't want them to feel like, oh, they know something I don't, and I'm going to die, God forbid, whatever it may be. Okay, please continue.
Even an important person should visit someone of lesser importance. One should not visit an enemy so that he should not think one is glad about his suffering.
So, let's say there's a guy, God forbid, and he and I have a feud over whatever. I may have the most beautiful intention in my heart to go visit him because I want him to get healed, even though I think he's an SOB, right? But he might take it as, oh, this guy's coming and gloating. That's not going to help his healing. So you don't visit someone who's an enemy of any sort. Okay, go on.
One may visit the same person even several times in one day, and the more one visits, the more commendable it is. Now I got it. As long as it is not a burden on the patient. Where it is impossible to visit in person, one may fulfill the mitzvah by speaking on the telephone.
So, even if there's someone around the country, you can still call and say, "Hey, what do you need?" And that's really the best question. What do you need? What can I do for you? Not how are you feeling. Okay, who wants to continue reading? Go, Orlando.
One who enters a house to visit the sick may sit neither upon the bed nor upon a seat, but wrap himself about and sit in front of him. For the Shekinah, divine presence, is above an invalid's pillow.
So let's say that this is the hospital bed, okay? And the patient is here. The Shekinah, the female presence of God, from it, the shefa, the flow of God's healing, comes from into the person's head. So I don't want to be standing right there, okay? You want to be right about here with them. So you're close, and you're still not blocking that flow. Continue.
Three main components of the mitzvah of visiting the sick are:
okay, this is really important. These are the three things that you do when you're visiting the sick.
To check if there is anything the patient needs and to attend it. To life the patient.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. So first of all, is there any first question?
The lift.
Do you need anything? Okay, it's the first thing. Do you need anything? Yeah, I need a new bedpan. They haven't changed it in 4 days. Okay. Do you need anything? Yeah, you know what, I'm a little cold. Can you get me? Yeah, I'm a little cold. Can you get me a blanket? Yeah, whatever it may be. Do you need it? First question. Do you need anything? Go on. The second piece.
To lift the patient's spirits. Avoid anything that might give rise to depression and negativity. Be as sensitive as possible to these feelings. Some conditions are highly embarrassing to the patient. In such cases, rather than going to the patient's room to see him or her in person, it is better for the visitor to stay outside and ask other members of the household if there is anything he can do for that person.
Okay, so you're going to go visit someone and you start talking with them and they say, well, how are you doing? Should you unload your burdens upon them? No, it's not going to make them happy. Should you talk about, should you bring up what's going on in terms of the craziness of what Hamas is doing, the evils? No. Okay, you want to lift their spirits. Okay, so know who they are as well. Know what lifts their spirits. Know what depresses them. Okay, go on.
To pray, say Mishaberach for the patient. Someone who visits a sick person but does not pray for him or her has not fulfilled the mitzvah. For this reason, the sages advise against visiting the sick in the first 3 hours of the day, because most patients experience a certain improvement in their condition at that time, and one may not realize the importance of praying for them. Similarly, the sages advise not to visit in the last 3 hours of the day, because there is often a deterioration at this time, and one may despair of prayer.
So one is at midday. Second of all, you want to sit there and you say, can I pray with you? Can we pray together, or can I pray for you? You okay with that? And if it's too early, they may feel great. So they may say, no, I feel great. It's too late, they may say, no, there's no hope. Right? So when you visit someone in the hospital or visit someone who's sick, you do it during midday. And you need to pray. Please continue.
Well, you can also, if it's Shabbat, or you're doing your
Lale.
you can also say Mishaberach for them regardless if you're there or not.
All the time. And you can dedicate study to them, or for them, for the benefit of them, like we're doing tonight. Or you can also give tzedakah in honor of someone. So I will, on a regular basis, I'll make a donation. When they say, is this in memory, is this in honor, whatever, I'm making this donation for the healing of so-and-so. Okay, please.
Absolutely.
We're going to get there. There's Mishaberach, but there's something much more powerful than even Mishaberach. And we're going to get to that. Okay, please continue.
When praying for the sick, one should include him or her among all sick Jews, because their collective merit makes the prayer more acceptable.
Okay, so this is like high holidays. During high holidays, we say, Avinu Malkeinu, right? Our Father, our King. For the sins which we have sinned against. So the reason is I want to tie myself to the community. Because you know what? Maybe I don't have the merit, but Barry does. So I want to tie myself to him. Make sense? So we tie ourselves to the community. So we place that prayer within the community of all of Israel. This is the traditional prayer, since you asked. Here it is right here. Good. This is the translation of Mishaberach.
Every morning. May it be your will, Hashem, my God, and God of my forefathers, that you should quickly send complete healing from heaven, healing of the soul and healing of the body to
so-and-so, Mr. Poloni.
Shmuel Nehemiah Ben Hinda,
Son, daughter of
among the sick members of the Jewish people.
Okay, and then I have the translation right there and transliteration. So, why the mother's name? Right? We say healing. We call someone to Torah, and I call them as I call Tessa Bat Daniel. Right? That's the tradition. But why would we say if someone needed healing on their mother? Because the Holy Zohar teaches that all of the gates of heaven are open to a mother's tears, be she alive or dead. Now, I don't think Allison loves the boys more than I do. Okay? But she carried them for 9 months. Literally on a cellular level. She has a much deeper connection. And so the tears of a mother open the gates of all 50 gates for the prayers to be received. So we pray in the name of someone's mother. So when someone says, will you pray for the healing? I'll say, can you, so-and-so, daughter of such and such. All right? So you, again, tying yourself to the people. Please continue.
Healing is all in the hands of Hashem, as it is written. I kill and I make alive. I would and
sorry, that's a typo. It should say I wound.
I would. I wound. Oh, I wound. Okay. I wound and I heal, and there is no one that can deliver out of my hand. Deuteronomy 32:39.
Continue on.
This means that the duty of the person visiting the sick is to help them consciously reconnect to their awareness of their relationship with Hashem. It is also their duty to intercede and offer prayers to Hashem for complete and full healing. See above. When a human being prescribes a medicine, it may be good for one person but harmful to another. Not so the Holy One, blessed be He. The Torah He gave to the Jewish people is an elixir of life for the whole body, as it is said, Proverbs 4:22, and health to all his flesh, from Eruvin 54:8.
Okay, so what is sickness? Dis-ease. What it literally is a part of us has lost our connection to God, or is a teaching from God. So we want to have God intercede, is the idea. At the same time, we need to remember to help people reconnect. So why is it so important to reconnect to God? I never saw the show, but I use the example a lot because my friend Father Tree, a priest, told me this. There was a show called Joan of Arcadia. How many of you remember that show? The show apparently called Joan of Arcadia. It's the Joan of Arc story in Arcadia. I never saw it. But then there's a scene where she says to God, well, prove to me you're God. And he says, turn around. She says, what's the big deal? That's a tree. He says, yeah, let's see you do that. So when someone is sick, it's easy to lose connection with God. It's really easy. And so when we're there by praying and being honest, we're going to help them reconnect to who they are and how they can be and to heal, because all healing is in the hands of God, not in the hands of man. You may become the greatest doctor in the world, but it's still God's who's doing the work. You're just a tool. You're just an emissary. There's a great book called The Dancing Healers, and it's about 25, 30 years ago. And it's about a guy who's doing his internship, doctor, and he's working at the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So he gets to, so he's going from reservation to reservation. He goes to the Navajo reservation, and he's at the Navajo hospital. He's training this old man, and this old man says, wait, I can't let you work on me until I see your dance. And this, medical student said, what do you mean you got to see my dance? Says, well, I was a healer for my tribe. And you need to know your dance that connects you to God. So the old man gets out of the bed, and he does a little dance. Goes back in. Says, until you know your dance, your connection to God, you'll never be the healer that you can be. That's the key to healing, is to know that we are merely the instruments of God.
Don't forget the same doctors.
That's right. And they got to keep practicing.
I don't think it's the right.
Some of them are, sort of like some observant Jews only observe Judaism from afar. The Jewish. Okay, please continue.
King Hezekiah, hid the book of remedies, a book that contained all the medical information, wisdom, and healing techniques of the times. It was said that the cure for every physical ailment was in this book, and yet the king hid it. Hezekiah felt...
Why would he hide it?
He didn't care about people.
Say loudly.
He didn't care about people.
No, he cared. Why would he hide it?
He wanted to be the one that they had to go to.
Nope. So here's the problem with medical students with doctors. They think they're doing it. Okay?
He's doing the healing.
Hezekiah, if you had a book of every remedy that could cure every disease, all you would need is pharmaceutical salesman. Right? That's all you need. Why would you need... Give me my little pill. Right? Or a shot or a capsule, or whatever it may be, right? As opposed to if you want to have people connect to God, because that's really what it is about in terms of healing. So it's really important that Hezekiah lost the book. He hid the book. Please continue.
Hezekiah felt that the book of remedies was too effective. When a person became sick, he would allow what was written. You're waiting with anticipation. In the book, and be healed. As a result, people's hearts were not humbled before heaven because of illness.
Right? There's no atheist in a foxhole, right?
Correct.
Let the sickness be something that draws us closer to God.
The book of remedies, and that was from Rashi. The book of remedies turned sickness and healing into a process that was only mechanical, that forgot to include Hashem in the equation. For this reason, Hezekiah and his wisdom hid the book. He wanted people to understand that illness, terrible as it may be, is also an opportunity for the individual to deepen and increase awareness of their relationship with God.
Right? Really important. Otherwise, it's the relationship with the doctor of God. How do you remember the movie with William Hurt called The Doctor? It's an older movie, great movie about a doctor who has no empathy but ends up getting sick and learns what real healing is about. It's not about prescribing the right medicine, ever. It's never about that. That's the smallest piece of it. Okay, please continue.
The hiding of the Book of Remedies is one of the three things that King Hezekiah is praised for by the sages of the Talmud. Despite this approval of the hiding of the Book of Remedies, the Talmud is filled with medicinal and herbal remedies. Why?
If you study Talmud, there are all sorts of herbal remedies, things to do for people with different sickness. Pages and pages that if you have this sickness, you should do this. If you feel this way, you should do this. That. How come you're so far away? This chair right here.
Okay, we're not bothering. You can come
It's
up.
not a bother.
We're not bothering.
Hezekiah's Book of Remedies. Okay. Okay. Go on with the Maharshas.
Oh, you can't take a chair up here?
Sure. Go ahead. Go on this commentary on the Talmudic tractate. Go on.
Okay. Where was I? Despite?
This is addressed by the Maharsha.
Oh, this is addressed by the Maharsha, Rabbi Shmuel Eliezer Eilis. In his commentary on the Talmudic tractate Gittin 60a, who explains that the remedies for illnesses are written in Talmud to avoid them being entirely forgotten, and to additionally make it clear to future generations that there is no branch of wisdom lacking from the Talmud, so that no scoffer will be able to say that the sages of the Talmud lacked healing wisdom.
This is so important. So part of the reason it started years ago, and I started doing Talmud and tobacco at Loyola Marymount University. Okay, that's where the idea came from. Because there was a priest at Loyola Chicago who had walked into Loyola and been part of campus ministries and had said, we're all the seniors. And he was told the seniors don't bother coming because they can drink, so they left the bar. So he started something called, what did he call it? It wasn't God Talk. Oh, it's Theology of Tap. And you got a Catholic senior who take a beer. That gets this, right? So at Loyola, many decades ago, it feels like, as many decades ago, I started Talmud and tobacco because you can smoke a cigar. So that's where the idea came from. We want to be working in a community and learning this stuff. But it's often when you bring up Talmud to people and you see there's this amazing text, they'll say, yeah, but it doesn't deal with this, or yeah, but it doesn't deal with that, and things are different now than they were 2,000 years ago. Well, the human condition has not changed in 2,000 years, number one. Our bodies have not changed, right? We haven't really changed that much. So when they say that, I say, really, what topic do you think that is different now than it was then? And often the answer will be how to heal, medicinal remedies. They obviously didn't have remedies, right? No, wrong. I could show them the pages where there are remedies of herbal remedies and recipes. So that's what we do. Okay, please
Can I ask
continue.
you a question?
Yes.
Doesn't talk about how was Ezekiel, the beholder of the Book of Remedies?
Because he
come
listened
from God?
He listened, they all come from God. He listened to God really, really well.
And he took down notes.
Basically, yeah, that's the bottom line.
Okay.
Not just on this, but on a lot of things. Hezekiah was a great. Okay, who wants to talk about the Rambam? Someone on this side. There we go.
The Rambam,
Loudly.
also known as Rabbi Moshe or Maimonides, was not only a major codifier of Jewish law and one of the most important and influential Jewish philosophers, he is also universally recognized as one of the greatest healers that has ever lived. Well-versed in the healing systems of the Greek and Arab worlds, as well as Jewish, he became the doctor vizier of Egypt. His classic
Guide to Good Health
was written in 1198 in response to a direct request by the Egyptian Sultan for medical advice. This text is still utilized by physicians today around the world. His advice in this and his other writings teaches the healer how to integrate physical and spiritual healing into complete well-being.
Okay, so let's talk about the Rambam for a moment. This was one of those themes. is said that he spent 8 hours a day serving as a doctor for the Vizier of Egypt. He spent 8 hours a day serving as a doctor for the poor people. And he spent 8 hours a day studying and writing commentaries on Torah and Talmud. And he slept after those 24 hours. Apparently that's who he was. And if you look at the size of what he's written, I believe it. He's written so much. God willing, you're going to go to medical school, and you will probably study in your first year teachings from the Rambam. They're still taught in today's medical schools. Okay, they're still taught. So it's really very, very important. Okay, please keep going.
The physician should make every effort to see that everyone, sick and healthy alike, should always be cheerful, and he should seek to relieve them of the spiritual and psychological forces that cause anxiety. This is the first principle in curing any patient.
Okay, say that again, slowly, so everyone really hears this.
The physician should make every effort to see that everyone, sick and healthy alike, should always be cheerful, and he should seek to relieve them of the spiritual and psychological forces that cause anxiety.
Okay. Well, this is the first principle in curing a patient. Listen to the line again, sick and healthy alike. I'm a rabbi. Am I only a rabbi when I'm with a group of Jewish people, or am I always a rabbi?
You're always a rabbi.
So if someone has a challenge, we're talking, I don't even know about it, I meet them somewhere, and they say, oh, can you talk to me about what Judaism says about death? Or about dreams, about anything. Should my response be, no, I'm not on the clock?
No.
24/7 job, right? That doesn't mean you're working 24/7, but you're available 24/7. A doctor is a doctor 24/7. So if someone goes to a doctor and hi, I'm a doctor. Really, what kind of doctor are you? I'm a GI doctor. Should I have it looked at? I'm having problems pooping. Okay, is that okay, or should the doctor say no? Can't talk to you, or should the doctor talk to him and make him more cheerful? Say, look, you should go have it looked at. You can come to my office. You can go see another doctor, where there's nothing to worry about. It's not a job; it's a calling. Okay, and you need to do it all the time. Please continue. I love this next line.
If a person cared for himself the way he cares for his horse, he would avoid many serious illnesses. You won't find anyone who gives his horse too much fodder, but he himself eats to excess. He makes sure his animal gets proper exercise. But when it comes to himself, he neglects exercise.
Okay, how true is that statement?
It has to be edited. It should say his automobile.
It's true. How do you take care of things, right? So you got a dog. You make sure the dog gets exercise, right? Theory, hopefully. He'll last
Run out in the backyard.
You let him run around. You play fetch with him. But do we do that for ourselves? Often we don't, right? I mean, how many of us eat to excess at times? Okay? Would we ever let our dog eat to excess? No. Well. So I'm a big cheesecake fan, right? I'm sure Rocky, our border collie, would love cheesecake. And it would be horrible for him, wouldn't it? Take a lesson from our animals. Okay? Please continue.
If the patient can be treated through diet alone, he should not be treated with medicines. If it is impossible to control the illness without medications, the first choice should be medicines that are nourishing and foods that have medicinal properties. When using medicines, one should begin with mild ones. Medicines consisting of many ingredients should only be used when absolutely necessary.
So I'm going to actually take this to something we were talking about earlier about diabetes, high blood sugar. Okay? First thing the person should do is what? Diet. Change your diet, right? If that's not working, the second thing you should do is look at some simple herbs like berberine. Okay? See if that helps, what? And exercise. Because you want to do that. And it's still not working, then you might move up to metformin or whatever it may be. And if that doesn't work, you're going to move to a more complicated pharmaceutical drug. But you start with diet. If you can heal with diet, that's how you do it. Always. Because most of us are not watching our diets carefully enough. I'm not talking about whether they're thin or overweight, but we don't watch our diets, what we put into our mouth, as carefully as we need to. Please continue.
It could be genetic.
But still, you can treat with diet. Yeah.
One should never forget to strengthen the patient's physical vitality with nourishing food and to strengthen his spiritual powers with fragrant odors, with music, by telling him happy stories that expand the heart, and by distracting his mind with things that make him and his friends laugh. The people chosen to take care of him should be those who know how to cheer him up.
So it's always good when you're dealing with someone, right? What can you do to make them happy? What can you do, in whatever way? So let's say I'm visiting someone who's not Jewish, and they say, Rabbi, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic. But tell me, I don't understand this Brit Milah. I said, oh, you don't understand the Brit Milah, it's the circumcision. In fact, let me tell you a story. I've actually done this. I'll tell you a story. There was a priest, a minister, and a rabbi. And they decided they were going to go see who could convert a bear to their religion. Okay, you've heard this, right? How many of you have heard this?
No.
Okay. So, convert to a religion. So, the Catholic priest goes out first, comes back at the end of the day. They say, what happened? He goes, I got out there, the bear roared up on two legs, was about to kill me, but I immediately gave him the wafer and the wine. He had some. He got down and he dedicated himself to Christ. Minister goes out the next day, comes back, everything's fine. What'd you do? Bear got out there, went on two legs, was about to kill me. I threw some holy water on him. Boom, he was fine. Third day, the rabbi comes back. He's mauled. He's beaten up. And they say, what happened? He goes, maybe I shouldn't have started with the circumcision. That makes a non-Jew, coming from a rabbi, that makes a non-Jew who's sick really happy. Okay? How do you listen with spirits? Music. Music is so important. If you take the word Bereshit, which is the first word of the Torah, which is translated to typically in the beginning, but if the word is in Hebrew, it's Bereshit. And if you take the letters and you play anagrams, you transpose the letters, it spells the phrase Shirat Av, the song of the Father. Music is what creates the world, and it is one of the most healing, the most powerful healing techniques you can have. It's the right music. Okay, and you need to know who the person is, what the right music is. They may not want to listen to some airy-fairy healing music. They may want to listen to, Bob Seger. Whatever it takes. Some people love the smell of champa incense. Some hate it. Some people want roses in their room because they love the smell of roses. Other people, it's overwhelming. Know what the patient likes, what he or she needs, and give it to them. Let them have it. So put in the music that really stirs their soul that they listen to. It's a lot better than them sitting in a hospital bed and watching a soap opera. Right? Which, how many people do that when they're sick? Instead, give them other opportunities it doesn't take any effort to smell or to listen. So it's really important that you know what those things are. Please continue.
The physician should make every effort to see that everyone, sick and healthy alike, should always be cheerful, and he should seek to relieve them of the spiritual and psychological forces that cause anxiety. This is the first principle in curing any patient.
And that means even if the patient isn't sick. Go on to the next one.
Rabbi Nachman of Breslov.
Okay, this is really, really important. So let's talk about Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman was this great, great mystic, late 18th or 19th century. Rabbi Nachman was a Hasidic Rebbe. He was a mystic. And he taught his stories. We have a lot of stories by Rabbi Nachman that they work for children because they're like fairy tales, but they work on the deepest of spiritual levels as well. Okay? They have the archetypes in them. It's very, very deep, powerful. And he was an amazing healer as well. Rabbi Nachman, most Hasidic sects, when the Rebbe, the head of the sect, dies, another Rebbe is appointed in his place. Not so with the Breslov Hasidim, because no Rebbe is like Rabbi Nachman. Shlomo Korbach used to say that everyone has two Rebbes. Your Rebbe, your teacher, and Rabbi Nachman. Okay? Rabbi Nachman was just this amazing, amazing being who really was fabulous. And so they don't have, the breast lovers have they've never had another Rebbe. In fact, they say, how many breast liposuctions does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is none, because the second light bulb is not going to be as good as the first. So it's really this great being. And he did a lot of work in terms of healing our body, our mind, our spirit, and how to do it. So when you ask, what are the specific prayers? We have one specific prayer, but here comes some other things that are very specific. Go on.
Rabbi Nachman of Breslov elucidated much of the teachings on healing from Torah, Talmud, and Zohar. The foundation of this pathway is
Hitbodedut, or
meditation. This is the best way of coming close to God because it includes everything else. It is something that everyone can practice, from the smallest to the greatest. Everyone can come to God and thereby reach the highest levels.
This is what we need to do. We need to listen when God talks back to us. Someone said prayer is when the individual, I think Yogi Bhajan calls us to this, prayer is when the individual speaks to the infinite. Meditation is when the individual listens to the infinite. So we all can meditate, and there's a lot of Jewish meditation techniques. We have a class in that, serious class in that. But we can all meditate, or at least just go talk to God and listen. How many of you talk to God? Talk to God. Got nothing to lose, right? Please continue.
Rabbi Nachman expounded upon the Talmudic passage from Shabbat 119b to teach that the cure for a person's wound can be received through the sages who have been entrusted with the power to interpret Torah. They know how to combine the letters of the Torah, and as explained above, the power of any medicine depends upon how the ingredients are combined.
Did you guys get that? Think of Torah not like building a medicine. You're going to create a pill. And to know that, okay, this passage combined with this passage combined with this passage will help this person. Requires a lot of knowledge about the Torah, a lot of knowledge about the Tanakh. But to be able to do that and to create a different kind of medicine, think of it this way. A pill, here's the patient. A pill goes in and affects the physical body of the patient. Meditation, the prayer, affects the spiritual reality, which then flows as a shefa, flows right into the patient, healing what is actually the cause. Yeah.
Not just with Torah.
All
because if there's a reason that you say Tehillim every day.
Right. We're going to get there.
And for each one. Okay. I'm ahead.
Sorry. You're ahead. We're going to get there. But you're right. All of Tanakh, all of the Bible. Okay? Please continue. It's very specific when you talk about Tehillim. Please continue.
He taught through his interactions with Dr. Gardia, a major physician of the time, that it is not the doctor who heals, but the angel that goes with him. We are to appeal in our prayers for the angels who guide the physicians to help attend the patient and bring about healing.
So it's not a question of, hey, doctor, please make me better. That's your prayer. Your prayer is, hey, angel for the doctor, please guide him to help me be healed. Okay, and continue with the last piece right there.
Rabbi Nachman taught that meditation and recitation of 10 specific psalms helps with the healing process.
This is called the general remedy. Recite these 10 psalms actually heals people. To be able to chant them in traditional ways in Hebrew, they're even more powerful. But if you're not fluent in Hebrew, to do it in English and really hear the words of each of these psalms. So in Judaism, we have 10 sefirot, 10 energy centers. Like in India, they have 7 chakras. We have 10. We have 10 energy centers, 7 in our body, 3 outside. And the recitation of these 10 psalms not only awakens each of these energy centers, it clears the pathway between them. And so the recitation of them, with the focus and intention of healing the patient, actually creates healing. It is called the general remedy. If nothing else, to do the simple prayer is always great. And to add to that prayer, reciting these 10 psalms, which takes about 20 minutes, because you recite them out loud, affects the person radically. It's called the general remedy. Because it affects, each one corresponds to a different sphera, a different energy center, and the recitation of all of them clears out the entire energy lines of the being. Okay? Really important. Please continue.
Jewish healing practices are involved and detailed based upon passages from Tanakh, as well as Talmud, Zohar, Bikkur, and Sefer Yetzirah. Our sages identified 10 pulses, similar to the practice of Chinese pulse doctors and acupuncturists.
Has anyone been for an acupuncturist or a pulse doctor? Who's ever been one? So, acupuncturist or pulse doctor? Acupuncturist. Anyone been to a pulse doctor? Okay. Acupuncture is based on the same concept, the rhythms. Pulse doctor, come in, put your hand on the pillow, and they feel the different pulses. There's not just the main pulse, all these different pulses. And then they say, this is what's wrong with you. And they do a prescription, and you go to the herb store that's always in front of where the practitioner is, and you get these herbs, and they make 4 packs of them in like pink butcher paper, and you drink it twice a day for 4 days typically, and then you're all better. And it really works. For many, until I got married, I didn't have health insurance. Okay, I would go down to Chinatown, I go to a pulse doctor. One of the very funny things was, I brought a friend down once, and they put their hand on, and the friend goes, but it's not here, it's on my back. Doctor, no! And she felt the pulses. It's really amazing. The idea that we are only physical matter coalesced around energy, around these energy centers and their pathways. So if you can heal the energy in the pathways, then the physical matter manifests differently. Does that make sense to everyone? This is the concept in Jewish. Yeah, so go on, please continue.
Each of which corresponds to a Hebrew vowel, a psalm, and a specific melody. The Jewish healing systems are as complex as any in Chinese or Western medicine, and are based on each healing coming from God through an understanding of his teachings, text, and words.
So, by the way, does that mean you don't take Western medicine? No! You do, yes. Loudly.
Question. When you go through these 10 Psalms, why is it, I was surprised that whenever we have we're given emergency to heal for someone who is ill, none of these are the ones it's Psalm 20. Why is it that you
because they probably haven't studied what Rabbi Nachman taught.
Okay.
That is,
but Psalm 20 is powerful.
Every psalm is powerful.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying?
But yeah, absolutely. But this is a specific formula.
As is 25.
Okay, that's
every day.
And this is a specific, like a compound medicine. The combination of these 10 ingredients, every psalm is a combination of these specific 10 in this specific way creates healing.
But it's for different reasons. I understand.
Does it make sense? So this is a general remedy that balances all of the sefirot and the 22 pathways that connect.
Thank you.
Okay. Health-related quotes through Rabbi Avraham Greenbaum. So I have had a teacher for probably 35 years, named Rabbi Avraham Greenbaum. Rabbi Avraham lives in Sfat now. He used to live in Jerusalem. And he was a Harkness Fellow at Cambridge. And then he got introduced to Rabbi Nachman, and he took the same passion that he studied as a Harkness Fellow to becoming an expert at Rabbi Nachman. He and another friend, Rabbi Chaim Kramer, founded something called the Breslov Research Institute, which in the 80s and 90s published all these books of Rabbi Nachman in English. And that turned on to a rejuvenation of Rabbi Nachman's teachings around the world. Okay, it's very much due to him and Rabbi Kramer. And he wrote this book called Wings of the Sun. It's one that I texted you. This is a serious book of Jewish spirituality integrated with hardcore physiology that's beyond I've gone through the book, but there's a lot of references. Quite honestly, I don't have the physiological background to know. I just don't have the knowledge. It's called Wings of the Sun. You can get it on Amazon. And he's an amazing being. Someone's called him, he looks like a Jewish Santa Claus. And he understands healing on every level. So when Allison and I weren't getting pregnant, we went to go do IVF. And the first time it didn't work, and the second time she miscarried. And Reb Avraham was in town, and she said, I want to go get his opinion. I said, if you go ask Reb Avraham what to do, you better darn well do it. Okay? You don't ask a sage for advice and then not take the advice. Just don't ask him. So she did. I knew what he was going to say. He said, you need to go to the mikveh because that's where Jewish souls hang out. So I started going to the mikveh. And the other thing he said, which is the only thing, when you're trying to get pregnant and you're not getting pregnant, it seems as if every other woman in the world is having a baby or is pregnant. I don't know how many of you can relate to that in one way or another. But he said something that healed her in a different way. And by the way, the next time we did IVF, we got thank God. He said to her, "You and Michael want to bring holy souls into the world, and it's very difficult to bring holy souls into this world. So take the mikvah, say prayers, and you will have children." Now, whether that's true or not, whether he's being prophetic or not, is inconsequential. He healed my wife. Because one of the things that stops someone from getting pregnant, who's all stressed out about getting pregnant, is they're stressed out about getting pregnant. Right? This is, many of you may be able to relate this in some way. It's why some people do IVF and then they get pregnant without IVF almost immediately afterwards, because it's war. So he relieved the stress. So he gave her a physical task to do, a medicine, take a mikvah. He gave her a spiritual teaching that could come cleanse that way. And we got the place. Okay. So this is really what he writes, and these are some excerpts from his book, is really powerful. Who wants to read some of these excerpts from Rabbi Nachman? Let's go.
Bodily health and well-being are part of the path to God. One must therefore avoid anything that may harm the body, and one must cultivate healthful habits.
Pretty simple, isn't it? Go on.
Sincere pursuit of the Torah and mitzvot is itself a guarantee of good health, for they are our life and length of days. If you will listen carefully to the voice of God and do what is right in his eyes, and give ear to his precepts and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases upon you that I have put upon the Egyptians. For I, God, am your healer. Excellent. Serve God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and remove sickness from within you.
So this is the idea that God is the great healer. So do what God has said to do, and you start getting in better health. Go on.
In the words of the Shulchan Aruch, it is a positive duty to take all due precautions and avoid anything that may be a danger to life. As it is written, take care of yourself and guard your soul diligently. The sages prohibited many things that involve a risk to life. Anyone who violates such prohibitions, saying, I'm only putting myself at risk, what business is that of anybody else? Or I'm not particular about such things, deserves a lashing.
It's not just you putting yourself in danger. It is a big issue. Please continue.
The table at which we eat is compared to the temple altar. On the altar, representatives of the mineral, vegetable, and animal worlds were transmuted into a sweet savor to God. Leviticus. Our task in eating is to elevate the physical food through devoting the energy it gives us to Torah, mitzvot, and the service of God. Many different commandments involved in the preparation and eating of food contribute to this elevation. The blessings we recite before and after eating and drinking transform these physical functions into acts of spiritual service, giving blessing to the food and drink as it enters our bodies.
So, are we commanded to say a blessing before food? Who says yes? No. No. Are we commanded to say a blessing after eating? Yes. It says you shall eat, you shall be satisfied, and you shall be blessed. So you are commanded to eat, to bless afterwards, so the food can be transformed and is muted into sustenance. The reason we do it before is so that the meal itself becomes also sustenance. Our process, because we become that much more conscious. Okay? By the way, one of the ways you know that eating bread is not a biblical commandment is what's the prayer we say before we eat bread? Blessed are you, O Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. That means it's a rabbinic law. It's not a Torah law. If it's a Torah law, it's blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with the commandments and commanded us to kindle the Sabbath lights. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's not, it's because the rabbi that if you have more attention while you eat, it's better for you. So you say the blessing before, you say the blessing afterwards, so it gets transmuted into something valuable. Please continue.
As long as you exercise, take care not to eat to the point of satiation, and keep your bowels soft. You will not fall ill, and your strength will increase. The opposite is true of someone who leads a sedentary life and takes no exercise. Even if such a person eats good food and takes care of himself, according to proper medical principles, all his days will be full of pain and his strength will wane.
Exercise is important, not just diet. Okay? Not just diet. Exercise is important. Please continue.
The kind of exercise that promotes health is defined by Rambam. Not every bodily movement is exercise.
Okay, so you got that? Just because you're taking a nice casual walk, smoking a cigar, walking on the beach, does not count as exercise. Okay? No, it's half for the dog's exercise. That's a given. Let's see. What dog would not have a cigar?
Exercise is defined as any form of movement, whether vigorous, gentle, or a combination of both, that involves some effort and causes an increase in one's breathing rate.
So this is from 1,000 years ago, and he's talking about having aerobic exercises. Please continue.
This corresponds to what today is called aerobic exercise. A steady, non-stop activity that involves a certain degree of effort and leads to increased rates of blood circulation and breathing without putting strain on the heart and lungs.
That's exercise. Taking a cigar walk is not exercise as much as I wish it was. Okay? It's exercise. You want to break a sweat. You want to get your heart rate up. This is 1,000 years ago. This is not, this is not new. Please continue.
Each individual is different, and there are no general rules about how often a person should relieve himself. But the halakha is clear that one should relieve oneself as soon as possible if one feels the need.
Okay. It is not healthy if you got to pee to hold it for 3 hours. Okay? It's not healthy if you got to poop to hold it for an hour and a half. Okay? These just aren't healthy things to do. If you feel the need to go relieve yourself, go relieve yourself. Because that's what is needed. For all of man's brilliance in science, they still have yet to make a doll that can intake food or intake one thing, use it as energy, and let the waste go outtake. Our body is a miraculous machine. And if you're exercising, you're watching your diet, you will go to the bathroom more. I've always found it interesting that when someone's a baby, and they're very young, and when someone's about to die, there's a parallel. Okay, the issue is when you're pooping. Right? I remember my grandma, 90-something years old, she's supposed to be 100, thank God. Grandma, how are you doing today? I went to the bathroom, I'm okay. Right? You got a 2-year-old. How are you doing? Oh, I went potty. Okay, good. Right? This is important to keep our whole system moving. And if we diet correctly and we exercise, it works better. Yes, go ahead.
Every day, it's in the when you're saying prayers. This is in there, and if that you're thanking God. If one orifice is blocked, so it's very important for these things. It comes
this is
from
called the Yotzer prayer. Okay, and when it's never translated right except in an Orthodox text. Conservative and Reformed texts kind of, I don't know what they do. They kind of marginalize what it really says. What it literally says is, thank you, God, created a wondrous body with many holes and orifices, the closing of any one of which, God forbid, would prevent me from standing before you even for a moment. Praise to you, O Lord our God, who heals all flesh and does wonders. Bathroom prayer. If you're in our synagogue, you will see right outside the bathroom, there's a placard. And on it is the prayer for washing your hands, and on it is the Yotzer prayer, in both Hebrew transliteration and English. So it is the prayer we actually say, in theory, if we're being observant, it is the prayer that we say the most often every day. Every time you relieve yourself, to say that. Because God forbid, even one opening or orifice was closed, nothing works. Right? So it's really important to realize that this is a gift for God. You want this gift from God to keep going and going. Please continue.
If a person sleeps in order to allow his mind to rest and to give rest to his body so that he should not become sick and unable to serve God because of illness, in this case, his very sleep is service of God. This is the meaning of the precept of the sages that all your deeds should be for the sake of heaven.
There is a qualitative difference between I'm going to sleep because I am tired I'm going to sleep so that my body restores itself so I can serve you, oh God. Real difference there, isn't there? I'm going to sleep. I'm tired. Look, I'm going to sleep because I need to be healthy and I need the sleep so I can serve you. Okay? It's a reframing of everything. One of my sons really, ask him what he wants to do, and today he's a teenager. So he doesn't know what he wants to do. I mean, one knows he wants to play golf professionally. The other one's not sure what he wants to do, except he wants to make a lot of money. And he's not going to be a rabbi. He definitely doesn't want to be a rabbi. Could be a moya. Think about it. What? Just got to make sure you don't make a mistake.
You only get tips.
You only get tips. This is true, but your tips today, could if you're doing 4 or 5 a day.
It's not taxable.
It's 5 to 10 grand a day if you're doing that. I mean, oil's making a lot of money. You got 2 times 6. You got a lot of money, right? But he wants. So one of the things that and it's a fight, and it's a lifetime fight, I think, is for him to realize, why do you want to make a lot of money? If you want to make a lot of money so that you can buy an expensive car, that's going to lead to one path. If you want to make a lot of money so that you can serve and make the world a better place, that's another path. And this one will create happiness. The other you'll never have enough. You'll never have enough. If you want to do it so you can serve God and make the world a better place, then you always have enough, no matter how much you're making. Okay? Our sleep, our diet, our exercise, to devote it to God, heals our body. There's a woman named Susie Pruden. Susie was one of the founders of the President's Physical Fitness Council. Susie's still alive. She'd be in her late 80s. She wrote an amazing book. It was a bestseller in the 80s called Meta Fitness. She was one of the original aerobics instructors. Okay, we're talking going back into the 70s, I think, early 70s. And she predates Jane Fonda. But she had this book called Meta Fitness, and her point is that studies had shown that if you are working out with an intention, right, I'm making my biceps stronger, you would get stronger faster. Okay, our intentions affect our body. So similarly, if I'm working out, eating, sleeping, whatever it may be, and I'm doing this so that I can serve God, then I will be healed. Okay, then I will get what I need to get. It's like, here's great. My back has been in radical pain because we did a 12-hour drive yesterday. Okay, it's just painful, and it's been painful all day and all night, but it's not right now, thank God. Because what am I doing right now? I'm serving God. Make sense? So we're going to keep this class going all night, so I have to. But that's the real truth, isn't it? That if you're dedicated to it. Coon up again? For those of you who do not know, I was not pooped on, I was peed on, and it was on video. And my kids, Orlando, sent the video of that shot of the raccoon was right above us, just poured on me. And Orlando, in his loving nature, sent that clip to my boys, who put it in slow motion and couldn't stop watching. So I'm so, when you tell me that it always makes me a little nervous. And I was wearing a jacket at the time, at least, but just this flood of liquid. So the raccoon knew that when he needed to relieve, he wanted to relieve himself. And then we moved over there, and the raccoon was following me wherever I went. I was just uncomfortable. But thank you for the warning if I hear him. I appreciate it.
Well, according to the Beatles, he's looking for the Tana.
His name is Rocky.
His name is Rocky the Raccoon. Without question. This is related to my dog. Okay, so the point is to dedicate ourselves in everything we do to God, and then we get the healing power of it. The last quote is a beautiful quote from Proverbs. A joyous heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. It's a beautiful, powerful reading because it's true, isn't it? If you start getting depressed, you start punching, you slap. You can't breathe this deeply. Right? You're always like this because you're happy, you're dancing. you open yourself up. So our healing techniques to recognize that they come from two different places. One is to treat the symptoms in the body. One is to treat the cause, the spiritual cause, from above. And you got to do both. So if someone's sick, ask if they need anything. Ask if you can visit them. It gives you merit, and it also helps them. If someone is sick, cheer them up. Okay? If I knew someone who was sick, who was very, very pro-Israel, and really very, very, that way, when the 12-Day War started, I might have said to them, that's what just happened. Okay? If the same person, however, if they had not watched news, I would not talk to them about what happened October 7th on October 8th. Make sense? Think about what you're saying. Words have power. Bless you. Just sneezed on the food. Words have power, and intention has power. And these 10 Psalms are more powerful than you can believe because it is a complicated medicine. Yes? Lally.
Mental health sickness?
Absolutely. All illness is dis-ease.
So those Psalms apply to mental health?
Absolutely. They apply to all because again, depending on what type of mental illness it is a dis-ease. So how do we there are pharmaceuticals if someone's, we want to put them in balance, but if you could do without that, we would. So I have a friend, Dr. Ed Seraph, amazing doctor, really amazing doctor. And he lives by this without even knowing this. He may know this, but I don't think so. He lives by this. He constantly is giving, okay, change your diet. Okay, that's not helping. Let's do these tinctures of these individual herbs. Okay, that's not helping. Let's do a combination. That's not helping. And he goes right down it so that it starts easily. And step by step by step. It's this. It doesn't matter what the disease is. That's why I know we always say disease, but it really is dis-ease. And it's a better way, I think, of thinking of it. How do we put ourselves in balance? Yes. Right.
When everything happened on October 7th, one of the things that we all saw, because it's spiritually, we as Jews are all connected. And what did we see people in bomb shelters doing?
Right.
But also, they were singing and dancing, and you knew that the fight was also coming. They're fighting for our soul, and it all is connected.
And that's why I write these emails every day. I do not
Thank
like
you.
writing these emails every day. Okay? I really, really can't. I don't like doing it. It's exhausting. I write at 2, 3 in the morning. But it's because on October 8th, as you said, every Jew was on the same page. And by December 8th, the vast majority of non-Orthodox Jews, October 7th was the rear mirror. Let's just get it done. And today you have the vast majority of Reform and Conservative rabbis saying, let's just sing Kumbaya. Let's go be nice with Hamas. What's the big deal? We need to keep connected as a community. So people say, how can you help with Israel? To be aware, to share what's going on in Israel right now. Okay? Every day, without exception, they have to go to bomb shelters in the middle of the night at 5 in the morning. The Houthis, the one thing you can say about them is they're smart enough to know how to do a psychological operation on the Israelis. They don't send their bombs at the same time every day. So I saw a friend from Israel about a year ago, and I said, you lost so much weight. He goes, of course I did. I'm running back and forth to the shelter 5 times a day. One of the things we can all do is to be connected as a community here, as a community, realizing that we're all part of the same people. And I was talking to someone today, and they said, you need to rest more. And I said, well, you know what? They're not rescuing Israel. Why should I rest? Right? We need to share, do everything we can, because that creates another strength up here that can manifest more as peace. So, bottom line, when you visit someone, pray. Ask to visit someone constantly. Realize healing. For some reason, I don't have this story in here. There's a story in the Talmud where there's a rabbi who's very sick. And Rabbi Yochanan goes to this rabbi and he says, are you attached to your sickness? And the rabbi says, neither to the sickness nor its rewards. Yochanan holds out his hand. The rabbi takes it, and he is healed. Very next line in the Talmud. Rabbi Yochanan is sick. And another rabbi comes to him and says, are you attached to your sickness? And he says, neither to the sickness nor to its rewards. The rabbi holds out his hand. Yochanan takes it, and Yochanan is healed. This is the essence of Jewish healing. First of all, the patient has to want to get better. So why does he say, I'm not attached to the sickness or its rewards? There's rewards in being sick, aren't there? People want to help you. People pity you. People give you stuff, right? Playing victim can be very powerful. So they've got to be attached, not attached to the sickness nor its rewards. And your job is to hold out a hand, but it's their job to take it. You can't heal someone who doesn't want to be healed. And that's a truth that we recognize. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know her name. But
Well enough!
what's your name? You were asking about psychiatry. Okay. Because I did that too. So if in psychiatry, this is paramount. When you see a good psychiatrist, just like seeing a good rabbi, they will say how many psychological disorders the person actually enjoys it and uses that for whatever reason based on their pathology. Whatever.
Take care of me, whatever it is.
Exactly. And then a good psychiatrist you cannot begin unless you really want to be healed, and you have to let go of it. So that it is important what you're saying of what those rabbis were doing is crucial. It's crucial as today as it was 2000.
It's always true. There's a great story about Jesus, who was basically just a good rabbi. But there's this great story about Jesus that he's walking by, and someone who cannot walk says, Master, heal my leg. And so he heals his leg, and they keep walking. And the disciple says, why didn't you heal both legs? His answer was, because he didn't ask for both legs to be healed. He only asked for one. And this is something to remember when you are sick, God forbid, that there is a benefit that comes from it, and to not be attached to the benefit. Not to be attached to the benefit in any way. Because there is a benefit, isn't there? Everyone takes care of you, it's easy, but it really isn't in the long run. And so it's our job to help people by helping them, but they have to want to do that. Okay? And if they don't, should we force healing upon them?
No.
Never. Never. We need to allow ourselves to both be there and help, but also put it out to them. Can I be there? Can I help you? Do you want to get better? Some people, their choice is they want to die, sadly. But they need to know that there is the option they can get healed. We need to do that. And we do it through all these different things. Someone says, yeah, I want to get better. Okay, do you mind if I pray with you? I'd like to say a little prayer, and I'd like to recite 10 Psalms. Okay, and there's, you know what? Okay, then you can just listen if you're okay with me doing this for you. Yeah.
I just wanted to mention Maimonides, who lived over 1,000 years ago, father of medicine, how brilliant he was. He said that all diseases start in the gut. And we've gone into all these specializations, and now we're coming full circle and seeing the microbiome, the gut, and all the insides going on, actually controls most of what's going on in our body.
Yeah, it really does. The Rambam was amazing.
Yeah, he knew this over 1,000 years ago.
That's what he did.
And they're all coming back to that conclusion today.
GI specialists are really very powerful.
Yeah. The interesting thing is they're not even on top of things. They've gone in the wrong direction for so long now.
Medication.
Yeah, well, I just wish they'd come up with something other than that half-gallon of liquid you got to drink.
They have smaller ones now.
What?
You're going after it, yeah.
Although they do have pills, it's very hard to convince the doctor to give it to you.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but they do have a pill
Your
instead.
insurance will cover it. Don't worry about it.
It's
Yeah,
cheaper to
that
get
a
the
few times.
It's and they don't, but they do. So the point is that this is a system. It is not your arm is not separate from your leg. It's a system. This is my hand. My thumb is part of my hand. My pinky is part of my hand. but the whole unit is the hand. And so we need, when we're treating someone, when we're helping someone, it's about putting in balance the energy centers, putting in balance the pathways. Those two Psalms do it. Saying that prayer, that brings even that much more of a shefa, flow of God into the person. And it's always about balance. Yes?
Fake it.
Can you fake what?
Praying to God.
Anyone can fake anything, I guess.
If you say, I will pray to God, but it's not coming from, from the deepest.
So you fake it till you make it. Okay.
Okay.
It will come. It will come.
You haven't dedicated yourself to God, but you're praying.
It just becomes part of it until it starts to open up. The more you do something, the more natural it becomes. Our head gets in the way a lot, especially 20th, 21st century Western culture gets ahead of ourselves and creates blocks. So people don't necessarily, it's how you can't do that. I'm not doing anything. God does everything. And that's the other piece. And this is important, especially for you who is going to God when you become a doctor. It's important to realize to never get so haughty. You don't get to use that word in a sentence very often.
Hockey or what?
Haughty. Someone gets to be haughty very often. Not to be so arrogant as to say, I healed them. Because they did. The doctor is the tool, but not the healer.
Facilitator.
The facilitator, good way. It's always from God. And so it becomes a part of that because it's there's the challenge of people looking to doctors as God. And there's also the challenge, sadly, that too many doctors think they are God. And the best realize that they are only a vessel that is a facilitator. And that's what all of us are. That's what all of us are with anyone who's sick. Okay, and that's really the bottom line. The other thing is when you go in to visit someone who is not well, let all your stress, all your headaches, leave it outside the room. Leave it outside the room. Be empty. So that nothing is in the way of that flow of God. Does that help everyone? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Great. Good stuff. All right. Hopefully I'll see you Friday night for services. And if you haven't registered for High Holidays, please do so. You can do now. And I hope this was valuable. Take it home. Try these 10 songs.